Well, I'm here with international man of action, Ronnie Ricketts. Ronnie, you're not just a fighter in the movies, you're a real-life martial artist, right?
Thank you, yes.
What martial arts do you do?
Yeah, it's funny, we started first, it was my brother who taught me. I started 5 years old. First, it was what we call Okinawa style.
Karate.
Yeah, then we shifted to Japanese style, called Budokan. JKA, Japanese guys, so we're longer version.
Right.
And came in, we met some people from the boxing world, so we're into boxing.
You're in the right country for that.
Yes, and then finally came in mixed martial arts, right? So we went into it also. But our forte, we call it Arnis, and also knife fighting.
Right, right.
So ours is Ilustrisimo Group.
I've had a lot of people talking to me saying I should do a video about Filipino martial arts,
you
Eskrima, Cali, etc.
Yes. It's like when you talk about martial arts, when you go to Korea, it's Taekwondo.
Right.
You go to Japan, it's Japanese karate, right? You go to Brazil, now it's jiu-jitsu.
Right.
So Philippines, what you call Arnis.
I think that besides that, the Filipinos don't get enough credit for as good as they are without weapons.
Right.
I mean, they produce some of the best boxers in the world. I recently experienced some first-hand boxing here. I fought in a fight here, just for fun.
Good.
And it had a very Filipino ending. There was a brownout in the middle of the fight, so we didn't get to finish.
Really?
But I think in terms of hand-to-hand training here, boxing is great here.
Well,
and they're catching up in terms of the grappling, the wrestling, and the jiu-jitsu,
we
I
have
think.
Pacquiao around, right?
Pacquiao.
So he's a world champion and sort of opened the doors for Filipino boxers
No doubt.
to shine.
No doubt.
And also giving opportunities to fight abroad, which is good for the country.
I actually worked on the movie that Star Cinema, I think it was Star Cinema, produced about Pacquiao a few years back.
Oh, yeah.
But they cut me out of the movie. I was the commentator, the American
Really?
commentator. I wanted to actually fight Pacquiao, but they said, no, you're way too big.
Yeah, right.
But Jericho, who played Pacquiao, is bigger than the actual guy, so maybe it would have worked out.
Wow.
But that would have been fun
Yeah.
to do something a little flashier than just commentating. I grew up watching action movies, loving especially martial arts movies. I grew up idolizing Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh, yeah.
And back then, pre-UFC, we had one idea of how fighting was. And now it seems like they all thought Van Damme was just going to spin kick everyone. Then we saw the UFC and we saw that, okay, maybe fighting's not what people thought.
Trace it back more.
But now I think it's coming back to that.
Your generation is
Yes.
Van Damme. Our generation is Bruce Lee.
I grew up a big Bruce Lee fan, though, too,
So
myself.
If you think about Bruce Lee's style, it's like
He was kind of the
right?
forerunner.
Yeah, it's more of a mixed martial art thing. He has all the combinations as well. Van Damme is then more of a kickboxer.
Yeah.
But if you look at Bruce Lee, it's really a different style.
Oh yeah, he was doing grappling in a lot of his movies, and definitely
he was introducing it actually.
Definitely
But
his philosophies.
People then were kind of familiar with that style.
Yeah.
When he had this thing under, so what was that?
They thought it was crazy.
They were used to stand-up fighting.
Yeah. But I think it's great that it's kind of coming back to. In the 90s, we had the UFC, and people are like, oh, maybe fighting's not what we thought. Maybe it doesn't look like a movie. It's messy and ugly. They roll around on the floor.
Exactly.
But it's kind of funny how now, and people thought, and I'm guilty of this myself. My dad's a brown belt in Taekwondo and has done some of the more traditional martial arts. I grew up a wrestler, American wrestler, and then watching the UFC. And we just saw mainly it was grappling. It's like that karate stuff and that kung fu stuff.
Wrestling.
It's worthless. Yeah. But now it seems like it's coming back to where we're seeing traditional martial arts, taekwondo, karate, especially with the Oda Machida.
Exactly.
How it's like if you learn the wrestling and the grappling, you can also bring that in.
Karate people that he won.
There's definitely good things to be said about karate, and my dad comes from that background. And I used to think highly of it. Then when the UFC came out, I'm like, okay, maybe it's not that. But it seems like it's coming back around to if you get well-rounded, if you get a karate guy that really incorporates it with the grappling and like the Muay Thai type striking, they can definitely do some things that are unorthodox and surprise those guys that only come from, like, say, a Muay Thai background. With that, especially the way with Machida gauges the distance and that kind of thing and is elusive.
Right, the kick he did.
That was straight out of the Karate Kid, and like that was hard. That was hard for me to watch because
Unbelievable, huh?
I love Machida. I love Machida, but Randy Couture is a pioneer of the sport and one of the icons. And I've worked with Randy on a movie before, a martial arts movie years ago, and ate lunch with him. I'm like, oh my God. So It's hard to see one of your heroes go out that way, but Machida's awesome, and I'm all for him doing well, and I'm all for seeing some of these more traditional martial arts having success in MMA. Back in the 90s, it seems like it was just wrestling and jiu-jitsu, and that was everything.
Right.
But now it seems like we're seeing a lot more stand-up fighting, a lot of guys stopping takedowns and stuff, and it seems like, and you'd think I'd be biased coming from a wrestling background as a 3-time state champion and an All-American, so you'd think I'd be heavily biased towards wrestling, but I'll be the first to admit wrestling's not the end-all, be-all. It's definitely important, and if you're going to fight, at least in that sport, you can't do without it. But we're seeing so many guys that never even wrestled in their life stopping All-American wrestlers' takedowns, and
But the discipline is something else in the training in wrestling.
Exactly. That's one of the most important things. Like, I've been training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've been into lately. Yes, and
so you're well grounded as well, huh?
I'd like to think so, and I've did some striking training in the past. I don't train in striking anymore, mainly because I don't really want to hit people.
Right.
Maybe because I'm getting old and I'm calming down. And it's
same here.
So the thing I like about jiu-jitsu and wrestling versus, say, karate or boxing, I feel like it's a safer way to subdue people. Right. Let's say, like, if you're a boxer and you want to, like, stop someone, but you don't want to injure someone, you're like, well, I can't hit this guy full out, otherwise I might kill him or seriously injure him. But with wrestling and jiu-jitsu, you can control people and subdue them without necessarily injuring them.
Even when you watch them, when you watch a boxing match, you see all this bloody face. When you watch a jiu-jitsu match, it's more of the...
One thing I was going to talk to you about is, do you find it hard doing these action scenes in movies and keeping them exciting when people see so much real fighting now, and then they're seeing scripted fights?
True.
I was saying before coming here, it's too bad we can't have a Filipino version of The Expendables. We could have you in it.
You never know. We're thinking of that idea.
It's too bad we don't have FPJ anymore to join in.
Yeah. You know him, huh?
I'm familiar with him, yes. He's
great person.
And I was saying to my friend when we saw The Expendables, like yeah, we should do the Filipino version. We could have Ronnie Ricketts, Lipo Lapid, is that his name? I'm not as familiar with him. Cesar Montano, maybe. But it's like we don't have FPJ, and he'd be like the Stallone of the group.
Exactly. That's a good idea, huh?
Yeah. So you got to put something together. And if you put something together, Ronnie, I hope you give me a call and make me a part of it somehow.
For sure, they'll show it. They won't edit it out.
I'll come and I'll wrestle guys down and then choke them.
Yeah.
So, and you can be in there karate kicking people. You've been doing movies for how long now?
Wow, I started late 80s. I'm still doing a few movies. And it's been about 5 or 6 years I stopped. Mm-hmm. Now I'm back. Hopefully with this kind of project we'll try to bring in more action movies.
That's what's great. You're doing this current project. Why don't you tell us about it?
It's what you call fighting chefs, Sort of opened my mind when I saw Boy Logro. He's a very famous chef guy.
I'm familiar with him.
So he's so funny. Been watching him for quite a while. I wrote the story first and tried to get people in, other characters inside in the project, and then finally came with the idea, the title's Fighting Chef, and come up hopefully with some fight scenes, something unique in a way, and we'll try to show it before the year ends.
Well, it's too bad you didn't have me in the movie, because I'm serious, because I'm into martial arts, but I have some very famous cooking videos.
Oh yeah.
So I was just talking to Chef Boy about this earlier.
I wish Brother Dinky told me earlier on, so we could have put it in the movie.
I was just talking to Chef Boy.
That would help a lot.
Chef Boy was saying he wanted to try my recipes because he's watched my videos and he
might as well guest you in the show.
I was thinking about that. Yes.
Maybe that will open doors as well in terms of cooking and martial arts.
It's funny because a lot of the times it seems the two things don't mix. A lot of my audience, they email me and they say, more cooking videos, Travis. And I'm like, but I want to do videos about martial arts and fighting because that's what I'm into so much. And people just want to see the cooking videos. But one reason I haven't done more cooking videos lately is because as popular as they are, I feel the audience might start getting tired after a while because you can only... Why people like them is there's a bit of a novelty factor to see an American white guy speaking Filipino and I have a funny accent. It'd be kind of like if Arnold Schwarzenegger went on Martha Stewart and with his funny accent, and you put the onions in here, It'd be quite funny to Americans. So I get the novelty factor, and that's a lot of the reason they're popular. But I feel like that might wear off eventually. But it's interesting that you're doing this, and I'll definitely be checking it out. And I'm definitely not going to check out the the pirated DVDs of it.
Yeah.
I'll buy my ticket like everyone else, pay up my hard-earned cash.
We'll invite you over to the premiere night.
That would be fantastic.
And I'll go with Brother Dinky, and you could join us.
I appreciate your taking the time, but I'd like to have you back.
Sure.
When you're not in the middle of something, and maybe you could show some Filipino martial arts, since a lot of my audience have been asking for that.
Yeah, we'll do that.
So I appreciate your time, Ronnie.
Anytime.
We'll see you back. I'm going to hold you to that.
Yes.
Maybe we'll do a movie together one of these days.
Looking forward.
Ronnie Ricketts.
Thank you.